Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. With the dawn of every new year, my mind is always ablaze with dreams and ambitions for my future self to achieve. These dreams are my North Star, guiding me through the uncertain landscape of my life. They lead me from one place to another, and when I trust in them and follow their light, I'm always led to a fertile place from where new dreams rise out of the darkness to sprout and bloom in my life. That fertile place is where I find myself now, as 2024 sets and 2025 rises. In this video, I want to share with you my process of setting intentions, vision boarding, and planning out the new year. This process helps ensure that my new year goals feel clear and achievable, rather than feeling scattered and overwhelming. I hope it can offer you some guidance and inspiration, but most importantly, I hope it serves as a gentle reminder to believe in yourself and your dreams. The first and probably most important step, I think, of planning New Year goals is sitting down with yourself and giving yourself time to get clear with your desires, with your dreams and goals for the future. And I think that this can take time and it's not something that should be rushed. And I think that sometimes it can be a bit of a daunting task trying to get clear with your dreams, because sometimes it just feels like there's so much possibility and like so much you want to do that it can feel kind of debilitating, like you're stuck in this space where like you could do so many things. And I always think of that meme where there's one person on one side of the bus and someone on the other side of the bus, and one person's happy and the other person's sad, and it's like there's so much possibility, or there's so much possibility, you know. You can look at it from either way. And I think that when you're facing this unknown space in your mind of figuring out what your goals for the year are and like what you really want, it's time for pondering, it's time for daydreaming and wondering. I like to really sit with this and think about the questions of like, what do I really want? What feels like it's aligned with my values? What can I contribute? And like I said, it takes time. I don't think that there's like a clear cut with the new year of like, it's the end of December, it's the start of January, set your New Year's goals. Like, setting goals takes time and it's a process. I like to start this process in my mind, just thinking and being very fluid with my thoughts. Like, what if this? What if this? What if this? I find myself thinking about these things a lot when I'm walking or when I'm driving. I think when I'm like in movement, it helps me think a lot rather than when I'm just like sitting down. Sometimes it can feel a bit too stationary. So take yourself on a long walk, listen to some music, and just have that thought in the back of your mind of like, what do you want? What do you feel called to? What is your future self doing? Like, can you envision that person? I also like to journal when I'm in this phase as well, either just stream of consciousness writing where I let my mind just completely trail and go wherever it wants to go, sometimes in a sort of mind map formation, or however my thoughts want to come out onto the page, I will do it like that. And I feel like I always sound like a bit of a broken record in my journal when I'm trying to get clear with my future goals and visions. I'll read back on some of my journal entries sometimes and it's like, well, I really want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I just sound like a broken record going over the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. But I think that each time I think about those goals and write them down, they become clearer in my mind through that process. And once I feel like I've gotten clarity around my future goals, I like to plan things out digitally because it just feels a lot like clearer and more concise. Sometimes things just get a bit lost in my journal. So I've been using this app called Xtiles for the first time. I've got it on my laptop now, and they reached out to me to partner with me for this video, and so they're the partner of today's video. But I've actually been loving using their app. I feel like I've had a bit of a journey with using productivity apps and planners in the past because I started using Notion like maybe 2 years ago, and I got so into it. I feel like it was a phase. I feel like a lot of people had a Notion phase, but it took a lot of time to figure it out, and it just ended up being a bit too complicated. So I went back to just using my Apple Notes to plan everything, which honestly works, but I think that I was just doing too much in it, and it doesn't have the capability to like be just like a bit more organized. Like I like the simplicity of Apple Notes, but it just feels a bit scattered. And now that I've been using Xtiles and I've created this like planner for the year, which I'll share with you the template, I think it's really good if you're like a visual person, because it feels like a digital version of like a bullet journal. You can just drag and drop things, you can color things in. It's very intuitive and simple, but at the same time still very clear and organized. So yeah, after I've dreamed up my future visions, I've put them into this template that I've created on Xtiles, and there's a few different sections to this template which I will run through properly in a moment, but bear with me. So I've got this page for my 2025 goals, and I've separated things into personal goals, professional goals, health goals, and financial goals. And then I've got another section which I've called distant islands, like future goals, like things that I can sort of see for myself in the future, but they feel a little bit too far away to get any sense of like proper clarity around them. But I'm like, one day maybe we'll get there, you know? So I've put all of my dreams and desires into these different categories, which feels very satisfying to look at for me. I don't know, it just scratches my brain in the right way when I have things like categorized like this. Under my section of personal goals, I've got things like lifestyle habits, hobbies that I want to start. For example, starting painting, going on a road trip, learning to speak Spanish in a Spanish-speaking country. I would love to do that. Travel plans that I have, learning to dance salsa, just things like that. The dreams and goals for my own personal life and well-being and self-development. And then under professional goals, I've got work-related dreams and desires. And then under health goals, I've got my health things, like getting my teeth checked, eating healthily, exercising consistently. That's all I've got under health goals. And then under financial goals, I want to get an accountant to help me with my finances. And then things that I want to save money for, I've just like listed those things. And then in my distant goals, I've got things like I want to make music one day. I'd like to write a book one day. I'd like to host retreats or something one day. Maybe I'd like to have an art exhibition one day. You know, these things of like, maybe I'll do that, but I don't really know what the path is there, but just to keep it in the back of my mind. So that is the second part, I think, of my goal setting for the new year. First part was just getting clear with your ideas, sitting with the questions of like, what do you want, and facing that unknown space so that your goals can become clear and like forms, and then bringing those goals into like a digital space so that you can clearly list things and categorize them. That's step 2. And then the third thing I like to do, which is I think my favorite step of the whole like new year planning goal setting process, is visualizing and creating vision boards. This is the fun step. And I think that when it comes to vision boarding, it's very helpful to be like really clear with your goals and with what you want. I've started doing my vision boarding and most of my actual yearly planning quarterly, just for the next like 3 months at a time, because I find yearly planning too overwhelming and like not very manageable, because it's just so much time. I don't know what's going to happen in 12 months. Even if I tried, I probably wouldn't succeed in like predicting how my life was going to go in 12 months. So I like to do things 3 months at a time, because I feel like 3 months I can get a handle on. I like to think of the idea of like coloring in your dreams and visions for yourself, and just like filling in all the little details through asking your questions like, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you surrounded by? What are you consuming? What are you creating? What are you wearing? What's your lifestyle like? What are you eating? Just those really small things which make up such a big part of life. I think that sometimes goals, like future goals, say for the whole year, can be very, very big. But I think that when you create your goals in a way where you're focusing more on the little things and like the things that actually make up your day-to-day life and your day-to-day lifestyle, I think those are the things that really shift and change your future. And so I think it's really good to visualize those things and ask yourself those questions of like, what is your life looking like in those small day-to-day moments? And then also, what are those small moments? What are they leading to? What are they contributing to? For example, you might have a goal of like wanting to read a certain amount of books in the year. It's like, okay, then you need to have daily habits of reading. So then on your vision board, you'd have pictures of maybe the books you want to read. Or maybe your goal was to work on some sort of creative project or have an exhibition or something like that. So then you'll need to think about, how is your day-to-day life going to contribute to that larger goal of doing a creative project? How are you going to bring moments of creativity into your day-to-day life? What is that going to look like? And then find images that align with those smaller goals that lead to the bigger goal. I think that when you're vision boarding, the most important thing is to be clear with your goals, because if you're not clear with your goals, then I think it can be easy to think that you want something that maybe isn't actually aligned with yourself, and maybe you think you just want it because you see somebody else doing it. And then I think it ends up coming from more of a place of imitation rather than authenticity. So get clear with your goals first. I go onto Pinterest, and Pinterest, honestly, it just gets me. I love my Pinterest algorithm. It feels like it's so tailored to my personality and my goals. And every time I go on there, I'm like, yes, 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 you see me, I see you. I have a few different Pinterest boards that all go on at once, where I just save images that I feel inspired by. And then what I've been doing is, in my X-Tiles template, I've created a tab for vision boards, and I will save photos from my Pinterest and put them into there, but very, very specific ones. I think that this vision board is like a refined version of my Pinterest vision board, if that makes sense, because sometimes I will save like too many photos on my Pinterest vision board, and it just feels a bit like, wow, there's like a lot of photos that are kind of saying the same thing. So I'll sit down and I'll be like, which ones really speak to this goal that I have? And be very selective and just choose those certain images and then put that in my vision board on X-Tiles. I also like to do this in my journal. Sometimes in the first few pages of my journal, I will paste in photos that I've selected from my Pinterest vision boards and just have them there as a reminder of what I'm working towards. I've also seen people make like a digital collage and save it as their screensavers. I think that's also a great way. Just do it in a way that feels right for you. Last year for a month, I did my vision board on like a piece of paper and I stuck it opposite my toilet. So every time I sat down, I was like, I see those things. And then my final step is actually planning the year and creating like systems so that I can achieve my goals, which is what X-Tiles has been really, really helpful with. In the planner that I've created, I've got 7 different tabs, and the first one is just a calendar. You can also integrate your Google Calendar with the calendar on X-Tiles, which is really handy. And then the second tab is the breakdown of goals for 2025, so personal, professional, health, financial, and then those distant goals. And then the third tab is for vision boards. The fourth tab is my planner for 2025 by quarter of the year. So you can slide through and it's got quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. So the idea for this planner is, in the page for each quarter, there's a space for you to write down your intentions as like a brain dump of like, what do you want to do this quarter? What are your goals for this quarter? And then the idea is to put those intentions into months. And I think that for me, this like gives me a really good visual indication of like, can I do these things? What's achievable? I think it's going to help me not cram too much into my months. I'm just trying to be a bit more organized and systematic with my goals this year, but in a way that doesn't feel super rigid and constrictive. That's what Notion felt a bit like to me. It just felt a bit too constrictive, whereas this feels quite free-flowing, very visual, very simple. And then I've got a space for a reflection at the end of each quarter as well. And then I've got a monthly planner. I think that's something that works really well for my brain when I'm planning my goals, is just breaking things down as much as possible into the smallest things, like into a daily habit or just into something that I can fit into my weeks, into my days, rather than just looking at a big goal and feeling kind of overwhelmed with it. It's like, how can I break this down and create a system for this goal that I can integrate into my daily life and then eventually achieve this thing? So that's what I hope this template is going to help me with, and you with, if you use it as well. So with my monthly planner, the idea is that at the start or end of each month, I will sit down, look at my goals, look at my vision board, look at my quarterly plan, and break it down into what are the actions I'm going to take this month that will align me with those future goals. Having this week 1, 2, 3, and 4 breakdown here is really helpful for me to not cram too much in and burn myself out, because when I just list the things in here, I can very easily see, oh, that's too much to do in a week realistically, or oh, I've got a bit more space here, I could put things in. And also I've learnt to underplan and not fully pack things in, not be like, oh, I'm at capacity that week, because things always come up, life always happens. You need space for yourself, for family, for friends, for just living. So don't bog yourself down with your ambitions. And then to break things down a little bit more, for a little bit more satisfaction, I've got a weekly planner. So the idea here is that at the end of each week, the start of each week, you will sit down and think about what you want to do that week, what are the things you're going to implement this week, and what are they going to look like day by day. And you can have a little reflection at the end of the week, think about what worked, what didn't work, how you're going to move forward the next week. And the last tab that I have is books. I want to read more, that's a goal of mine this year. And so I was like, this is a fun little way to keep track of the books that I'm reading. And I want to not only read, but I want to make sure I'm really taking in what I'm reading. So I want to write little reflections or kind of like reviews of the books I read, and really think about what I took from that, what I learned, what I enjoyed about the writing, and just making sure that, I'm really absorbing things rather than just powering through reading books for the sake of reading books. I want to actually take things from those books. So that's why I've got the books tab. But yeah, that is how I'm planning my year out. That is my template. There's also a bunch of other templates available on Xtiles as well. I will leave a link to my template in the description as well so that you can use it. I'm excited to use Xtiles this year. It feels like a great way to stay organized and productive, but also leave room to be like free-flowing and creative. I think I've struggled to find a balance for both of those things in the past, because a lot of productivity apps just feel like they're not leaving enough room for me to be a visual person. You can get started with Xtiles for free using the link in my description. And a huge thank you to Xtiles for sponsoring this video and making me be more productive for this year. I feel like getting this sponsorship really made me create this template. And in creating this template, I was like, oh my God, this actually feels really good. And it's helped me get a lot clearer with my goals for 2025 and made me actually sit down and properly think about things and plan things out. And it feels really good. But yeah, I'm excited for next year, for 2025. I feel like it's going to be a very good year. It feels very abundant, and I feel like a collective sense of this like coming togetherness and becoming. I feel like the past few years have been very much like character development, getting to understand myself, getting to know myself, understanding my own values and what I want to do in this world, what I can contribute. And I feel like now I have so much more of a fully formed idea of myself and what I can offer the world. And I feel like I can do things. I feel very capable, and I feel like I have a lot of self-belief at the moment, which I haven't had in the past. And things feel so much more possible when you have self-belief. And I believe in you, and I believe in your dreams and all of the things that you want to bring into this world, all of the things that you want to create. I think that all of our ideas are so valid, so unique, so needed in the world. Anything that comes from a place of authenticity and love is needed in this world. So I hope that in 2025 you let yourself shine and let yourself be seen in all your like beauty and imperfection and perfection. Like there's so much perfection in the imperfection because we're all imperfect. Anyway, I'm rambling. But happy 2025, happy new year. Thank you also for watching my videos this year and being a part of the growth of my channel. If you've been watching my videos throughout the year, thank you so much. I feel like it's been such a journey this year, and every year will continue to be a journey. But thank you, truly. I'm so grateful for everybody that watches my videos, and I feel like I've got such a beautiful community on YouTube, and I feel like that's such a big part of why I feel such a sense of possibility at the moment, because I'm like, there's so many beautiful people in my like world, even if it's just digitally, and that feels really uplifting and inspiring. You inspire me. Bye.